I have to say that there's a huge difference in contrast from the previous concerto you played. So, can you tell us what is next in the program?
Absolutely, they're extremely different. I have chosen a piece that is much closer to our time period, in this case, a tango by one of the most important Latin American composers of the 20th century.
And tell me something. Why have you chosen a Latin American composer?
I think it is important to show that music is a universal language and that it exists on every culture there is in the world. I have chosen a piece that is representing of my culture. I was born and raised in Venezuela, and I think that all the Spanish speaking countries have a lot of beautiful music that isn't quite often heard.
And who is the composer of this piece?
I will be interpreting a piece by the incredible bandoneon virtuoso and composer Astor Piazzolla. I think this particular genre is more known because of the dancing element that is associated with this music. I'm sure you've tried dancing a tango or two before.
Yes, I definitely think I know what that looks like. So please tell us more about this particular music.
Absolutely. So, tango can be easily identified by its rhythmic characteristics. It is often written in 2/4, which means that we have two beats per measure, or sometimes 4/4, which is also one of the most common timings within the musical language. Tangos are, of course, very colorful, very passionate pieces that are vibrant with lots of melodies and distinct contrasts.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I sang a tango a while back ago. I'm not sure if you heard it, but it goes something like this. Quiero emborrachar mi corazón para olvidar un loco amor. Have you heard this tango?
Oh my goodness, of course. That's one of my favorite pieces too of this genre. Beautiful nostalgia has been interpreted all over by so many artists. Even in no non-tango versions I've heard it. And you have a beautiful voice. Thank you for sharing some of your artistry with us. So yes, this music is absolutely truly characteristic. It is, of course, a genre of Argentinian music. This is where Piazzolla was from. He was born in Mar del Plata. And we also need to acknowledge, if we go to the more historical side of things, that there is a humongous French diaspora in Argentina. So after Rosas, which was of course a huge dictator, tensions between France and Argentina is starting to decrease, and therefore a lot of people, especially from the Basque country, started immigrating to America. So this becomes something that is extremely important because they were in search, of course, of the new world. A lot of them that were taking upon this journey were people that were seeking exile. But just to give you an idea, the numbers just kept incrementing. By 1859, there were more than 25,000 French immigrants in Buenos Aires. This is extremely important as tango is rooted in French traditions. When you listen to Edith Piaf, for example, and I'm sure you know Edith Piaf very well, if you pay attention to the way the music is constructed, you'd find a lot of similarities with tango. There are other elements, of course, that become also a part of this big mixture, such as African roots and then African music, particularly music that was ceremonial and religious. All these rhythms, they just become a part, and then tango is born as its own thing and takes over the 18th and 19th centuries in South America.
Okay, but tell me something because when I think of tango music, I always picture the bandoneon performer and the tango dancers. But what is the typical instrumentation of a tango?
Absolutely, and you're right. It's not the accordion, it's the bandoneon, which the difference is that The accordion has keys and the bandoneon has just buttons. So when it comes to tango music, a typical arrangement includes, of course, the bandoneon. It includes guitar, sometimes even flute, although it's less typical, violin, piano, and bass. But we can play tangos on any instrument, and of course, we can sing them as well, as is in the case of one of the most famous tango pieces, Por una Cabeza, which I'm sure you've seen also in the movie Scent of a Woman.
Of course, with Al Pacino.
Yes.
So, what were Piazzolla's contributions in this particular genre?
Let's see. Well, Piazzolla helped develop the concept of tango and he took it further. He wrote over 3,000 pieces.
Wow.
Yes, we're talking about a guy that was extremely prolific. What Piazzolla started doing was to create different fusions of tango. Many credit him for the creation of a musical, I guess you could say, of a new genre, of a new guest of tango, which is called Nuevo Tango, which is translates to the new tango, right? And this happens in the 50s. What he did, he made the music funkier. He incorporated more abstract harmonies and made the melodies more fun, more involved. He also included, of course, the saxophone to it, so that was a huge innovation, as well as the electric guitar. What's beautiful about this music is truly how passionate and how vocal it is.
Yes, you're very right about that. So, Alexandre, what will you be performing for us next?
I will be playing a piece titled Oblivion. This work was written in 1982. The title is, of course, already very suggestive of a certain state of unconsciousness, you could say. This piece was originally featured as a soundtrack to a film, actually, so it became a really big hit, and you could hear hundreds and hundreds of different interpretations for voice and a vast variety of instruments. But most importantly, I think it has a lot of soul, and it just, every time I play it, it just takes me to a place of intimacy. It is very contemporary, and it just has a lot of different dynamics of expression and depths, and it's truly one of my favorite pieces of all times. This is my own arrangement for viola of the work with piano accompaniment.
Well, Alexandre, it is very obvious that you're an outstanding musician, but aside from that, you're also an amazing
Thank
arranger.
you so
So
much.
I really can't wait to hear this piece.